Bienvenidos and welcome to Hockey's Pacific Division. My name is Erick. Thanks for joining us. Today making his glorious season premiere, his debut after being an IR, Miguel. Welcome back, buddy.
Hello, I'm back.
That's enough out of you. We got a special guest, baby. Of Sin Bin Vegas, we got Ken Boehlke here to talk all things Vegas, Golden Knights related. Ken, thanks for joining us.
What's up? What was it? Upper body, lower body, or the new Bruce Cassidy mid body?
Is that a thing now?
That was wasn't that William Carrier?
Period. Yeah.
Yeah. Mid. Torso.
I'm gonna do the people don't know, but the Ken Boehlke Sin Bin intro. Hello.
There you go.
There you go.
Ken, who for those that might not be too familiar with your work at Sin Bin as yourself as an individual, why don't you give us a little introduction?
I started the website 7 years ago. It was our 7th birthday a few weeks ago, and I actually thought it was 6. So it shows how much I know about what I do with my own life. But yeah, 7 years. We started the site a little bit, about a year and a half before the team started. We've been covering the team basically exclusively ever since. It's a full-time job for myself and my partner, and that's that. As far as me, I'm pretty boring. I like soccer and hockey and baseball and football and basketball during the tournaments, and that's about all I care about. And my dog.
There you go. Yes.
Love
it. Ken, actually, so I was doing a little research on you. You know, I'm sort of familiar with your work, being a division rival, quote unquote.
Well, I've been a listener pretty much since before we had a team as well. I've been on the website, yeah, of course. I got like the old Cup and One shirt as well.
Nice. Oh, those were the best.
back when we were still like starry-eyed and good hopes.
But Ken, in doing my research, I learned that you are just like us. Got into hockey later in your life, not a diehard from the start. No. Born in Chicago. What made you? Just Vegas had a team and you were there, or?
Yeah, I mean, in Chicago, like, this sounds weird now. I guess maybe we're headed back towards it. But growing up in Chicago, like, people didn't care about hockey. The away games were the only ones on TV. The home games weren't, because the owner thought it was brilliant to not have them on TV. So people would go to the games. Still don't understand that concept. But so there really wasn't a lot going on in Chicago at the time. When I went to college, I went to Missouri, so I met a lot of Blues fans. I kind of got a feel for what the sport was. I followed through them. It was more like hoping the Blues would suck as opposed to them winning, because like everyone's annoying. So they did well at that while I was in college. They never did shit while I was there. And then, we came out here. I moved out to Vegas just for fun. Seemed like a good thing to do. And then we noticed that kind of nobody was covering the hockey team. And we're like, that doesn't make sense. 12,000 people put down season ticket deposits and there's no news for the last 2.5 months. Like, that ain't going to work. So we kind of saw an opening. And from there, I kind of immersed myself for the next 2 years, well before we ever had the team, and kind of figuring out what this is. How am I going to have to learn? You know, I watched the same game over and over and over again to learn every position and everybody and whatever. And now I'm writing articles about the 1-2-2 neutral zone that they're going to. So like, things have changed for me, but here we are.
Yeah, that kind of mirrors me, where I remember going to my first Kings game and be like, all right, I'm in. I need merch. Mispronouncing Drew Daddy's name, just trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And now, like 2 years ago, I was like, the 1-3-1 neutral trap, eh? That's great.
I know, like, what are they doing? These idiots with these neutral zone systems, like, they should know better. We're whatever. For me, it's like, it's always been simple, though. Just put the thing in the thing. That's what I always say. That's really all it is. And
I think the hardest part,
like, get it in there.
The hardest part about hockey is just pronouncing all these names. Like, these players have some of the hardest names.
It's super helpful when being press credentialed. I just go up to them and like, say your name for me. And so like Sakari Mannanen, I thought it was Sakari. I walk up to him, I'm like, Sakari? He's like, yeah, Sakari. I'm like, all right. Yesterday, Matthias Sapovaliv. Okay. It's so much easier when you just get them to say it. And then I repeat it back to them and they always say the same thing. Close enough.
And my favorite part of that with your names, Miguel, is that you literally have you do hockey card content. So you get a lot of practice in, and it never gets easier for you.
I know, and I get a lot of shit for all the names I butcher. I'm like, I only know Vegas player names. Like that's all I hear all the time. Sorry.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
Like the whole Roy Waugh thing.
Oh.
Well, we have a Matt Roy. You guys have a Nicholas Waugh.
Yes. Just better. I prefer the Waugh.
Well, all right. Well, one's slightly better than the other. I'm not going to say who, but it's Matt Roy. Let's be real here. Ken, how did the start of Sin Bin, like, what was that process of just getting it started? Because you started that site, you started the coverage before they even had a name. Like, what was your hopes going into the process of beginning to cover a team that kind of existed, but not really?
The main hope, to be completely honest with you, was my buddy Jason, who still runs the website with me now. We worked at a radio station and we did like a kind of a local talk show. It kind of skewed Republican, which wasn't the best for me at the time, but so we knew we might be able to get one press credential through the website or through the radio station. We're probably not getting two. Maybe we can find a way to get ourselves both in there. And so, that was kind of the plan, was kind of just find a way to be legit enough to get press credentials that I'm basically buying myself season tickets. Years later, I don't really feel like I have season tickets as that's going to work, but if that's what work is, I'm not complaining at all. Right. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Actually, somebody yesterday, I had it was a set of 3 tickets that were literally the row behind the Golden Knights bench yesterday. And they're like, you need to sit there. I'm like, this is going to sound ridiculous, but I can't. Like, I just have too much going on during the game that I need my computer, that there's just no way I can sit there, even for a stupid preseason game that doesn't even matter. And I still felt like I couldn't go. So, if that's the worst hardship you've got in your life, you're doing okay.
Have you never sat in a Golden Knights game not as press, like just
at
purely
T-Mobile Arena? I have not. I have not been to a single Golden Knights game outside of the press box at T-Mobile Arena. I went to one in Washington the very first year. It was kind of a wild game. The Golden Knights came back. It was not the Cup final, and I actually had better seats for that than I had in the Cup final, which confused me. But yeah, that's the only game I've ever been to. And then there was one, I was in Tampa at the same time as them, but I was actually at the football game, not the Whoops.
That's so wild. Like, I mean, it makes sense. It's your job, so, but it's crazy. Not one singular game. Did you have fun at least on one game?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's tough though, because like,
you still analyze
like
it, right?
I feel like when I'm in the press box, like the game's right in front of me. I got a nice seat, nice overview. I got my own area, my computer. The screens are up above us, so I can watch the replays. I can't tell you how many times I was at that game where I would be watching and then I would look up and I'm just looking, and like that's where the screen is supposed to be, where the replay is, and it's not there. So that was pretty brutal. But yeah, no, it's kind of weird that I've never done. I've been to plenty of other hockey games, UNLV in college, and all sorts. I've gone to a couple other teams, Ducks games, Kings games, things of that sort.
We had your buddy Jesse Cohen, all the Kings men, come up, and we were talking about how it's an adjustment period because he's been a longtime fan, so he went to go see at the Forum, and then boom, press box. Like, what was the first couple of times for you? Like, was there an adjustment period to like, all right, let's make sure we get everything down. I'm enjoying this as much as I can, but also I'm here to work.
Yeah, like it wasn't my first press box experience. So like I went to journalism school and I actually covered football there a little bit. I went to a couple games and covered it there. I covered UFC for about 3 years. I actually covered a little bit of like Bulls and White Sox and Cubs and things of that sort, but nothing more than just press conferences and things of that sort. But I had been in press boxes at different times. The challenge for me was like over the course of that 18 months or so that it was before they played that first game, it was like really seeing the genesis of the franchise and coming to life. And you start to really like everything about it. You like, the logos and the jersey and the fan base. And then I got to know the players and, I get to talk to a lot of these guys. And a lot of the first games that we were at were guys that I knew had no chance, but I understood that like this is their opportunity, and you get to kind of know them. Tyler Wong's a good example. He scored a hat trick in the first preseason game they ever played.
I remember that.
Tomas Hyka was really cool. You know, he played against the Kings at the game we were at, and he kind of had a chip on his shoulder against the Kings, and that was kind of cool to see him have a good game. So you kind of have to put yourself in that position. And then really the very first game, so that I went to Dallas for the first game, and that one was really tricky because there's just so much going on the first time you do it. And then the very first home game was right after the shooting in Vegas. And like, it really wasn't about hockey in that game yet. I'm trying to focus as much as I can on that. I'm crying at the damn speech. Right. And then I'm trying to, you know, work here. So yeah, it took a while. Now I walk in and I'm like, you know, I'm yapping at people in the press box more than I'm paying attention about anything else. I get thrown out of there from doing all sorts of fun stuff.
We gotta get you a seat inside that castle. I think you gotta make that your new office.
Yeah, I actually watched a period from the side castle. So there's the main castle, and then there's a side castle where the like DJ guy, but I was actually hanging out with the guy who was doing the in-arena music, not the DJ. Somehow those are separate. Don't ask me how those are separate, but I kind of did a little story on him, and then it never saw the light of day because he ended up leaving before I ran the story. So, but I did watch a period and watch him, and it was kind of cool to see there's a face-off and how quickly he's getting his finger onto the button to play the next face-off song. And I mean, the guy was unbelievable. He's gone now, but he, you know, just the number of little things that he would sneak in there was really cool to kind of get to know him and get to watch a period from up there.
Being a reporter, you were mentioning like kind of you're developing relationships with guys like Tyler Wong or stuff like that. As you develop these player relationships, because I'm pretty sure you would have gotten to know a lot of these guys who have been there for these 6 years or just arrived there in the offseason. What does it like? How does it feel be like covering these guys that you know on a personal level, but also have to talk about in an analytical sense of success of a team, the storyline of a season, etc.?
Yeah. For some odd reason, I don't really know exactly why. I don't really have a hard time separating it. Like, I understand how tricky it should be. It does get awkward at times. Like, there are certainly guys in the locker room that just don't want to talk to me and don't want to come near me. And it's fine. I don't take it personally or whatever. You know, it's not that big a deal to me. And other guys, they're, you know, I'll say what I say and they're fine with it. So for me, you know, as much as I like the guy or I don't like the guy, and there are some that I like and there are some that I don't, it doesn't really matter. For me, the second you step on the ice, like, I am rooting for you as a human to have success. But at the same time, the only thing that matters to me is what you're doing in the actual game of hockey. How are you helping the Golden Knights win? How are you helping us get to the ultimate goal that they need to get to? And if you're not doing that, I'm probably going to go on my show after the game and shred your ass to pieces. So, like, it doesn't really matter to me. And I don't, maybe that makes me I don't know, that makes me an asshole or something. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I you know, I like most of the guys in there and we have good relationships. And to be honest, most of the time I go in the locker room, I don't talk about hockey. We talk about food or other sports or whatever, you know, but it's for me, it's not that difficult. And I don't know why.
I mean, that's the one thing I've been into Sinbin, your podcast, and reading the articles for years. So pretty much since the beginning. That's the one thing I enjoy about you guys, is that you're not afraid to critique the players or the team. Where I feel like a lot of Vegas media it's nothing but positivity, and it's not always positive. They don't win every game, so like, and that's what they always appreciate about Sinbin, is like, you guys are not afraid to say the shit that like clearly is wrong with the team.
And we made our enemies here and there. There are still some enemies. Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, my theory has always been the same. I plan on doing this until I can't anymore. It's been profitable for me. I don't see why it would ever change. So I plan on outlasting every single person in the organization currently. That sounds maybe egotistical or something, but that's my plan. I plan on doing this for 40, 50 years. So it doesn't matter. If you hate me, you will come and go before I leave. Like, maybe that makes me sound mean, but that's how I plan on outlasting the owner, which maybe not the owner's son. That'll be close.
I would say you're definitely going to outlast like a lot of the people in management in that if things go the way they've been going.
Well, they can't trade you, Ken.
They would like to. I have gotten that tweet many a times, to be honest with you. Can we trade Sinbin? Like, nope, fuck you.
Nope. You had a good guy. You had a good agent negotiating your no move stuff.
Oh, man.
Here's my agent.
Here's my agent right here.
Well, let's talk about last season, because last season was a roller coaster. Right. I mean, it makes me feel good. It was great for me. Look, as I tell you, Miguel.
Congratulations, Erick.
Look, we're back in the playoffs, baby. We're the greatest team of all time. I don't care. Stanley Cup, here we come. Maybe. But
pretty good.
Look, happiness is measured by expectations, and last year my expectations were low. Like I couldn't tell you last year if the Kings were good or not, but they were fun.
They're good.
Man, where do we want to begin with last season, Miguel? Like you trade away. I still think trading away Marc-Andre Fleury is just a terrible thing. Not even in the sense of like you got Michael Hakkarainen. There's another difficult name for you, who basically never suited. Well, he didn't suit up at all. But on a I guess symbolic, like he's the greatest Golden Knight, right? Like hands down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though you hate him, Miguel, let's not ignore that.
I don't hate him. I just hate the Marc-Andre Fleury hive, the fan base that cannot let go of the fact that he's no longer in this team, and every tweet, anything to do with the Golden Knights, has some way had to tie to Marc-Andre Fleury. It's just absurdly annoying. Like, did they fuck up? They fucked up, but it is what it is. We got Leonard, who is a good goalie. Unfortunately, he's hurt and hurt a lot, but he is a good goalie. People need to get over it, and I don't know. That's tough.
Well, in your opinion, Ken, what was that drama like, and has it been overblown in terms of the fan reaction, I guess, towards the trading away of Marc-Andre Fleury to clear cap space?
I don't think so. I think once they made the move for Leonard, like I don't think the trade for Leonard was kind of the end all be all of it. But the second they signed that contract, when you sign him to a 5-year deal, you knew what Fleury's age was. You know what the cap space situation is. Like it was pretty clear. Inevitably, Marc-Andre is going to have to go at some point. I do think when you look back and the promise that was made to him that he was going to retire here, I think they could have potentially found a way to wait one more year out. I don't necessarily think they had to make that deal when they made it. He was going through a rough patch. As far as like what the reaction to it was, like I think it's a combination of two things. Like in the very simplest of terms, you're selling the face of the franchise and you're getting nothing in return. And I don't exactly think that Robin Lehner, despite all the things you may think positively or negatively about Robin Lehner, he's not going to be everyone's favorite. No matter where he goes, he's never going to be everyone's favorite. He's just a polarizing character. Yeah. I'm kind of the same way. I'm not going to be everybody's favorite. It is what it is. It's not that big a deal. But when you had Marc-Andre Fleury, who you literally cannot hate that guy. Like you can be a fan of any other team. You cannot hate the guy. He's so great. Just who he is, how he acts, how he talks, all of it. Like the guy's awesome. So it's really hard for that in and of itself. But then beyond that, the way that he was treated, the way his agent was explaining what was happening to him, the information we were getting behind the scenes and kind of putting that into the narrative as well, just saying like, look, it was unbelievable the lengths they went to lie to Marc-Andre Fleury. Why would you do that? Why can you not just come out and have the hard conversation and make this much easier? Like, how hard is it to say Robin Lehner's 30, Marc-Andre Fleury's 36? Like, why is this so difficult? The dude is great. Like, Lehner is great. Fleury is great. We need to move on. Like, they had the ability to do it. They tried to tiptoe around it. They had the promise from the owner. It ends up being just a complete and utter shit show. DeBoer handled it about as poorly as you can possibly handle it, in my opinion. And it just got worse and worse and worse to the point where then when it happens, everyone's going to lose their mind over it. Then the subsequent season goes the way it goes, and we are where we are. Like I understand what you're saying, Miguel, about the Fleury like cult or hive or whatever they call it. I get it. I would probably admit I'm closer to that than I am the other side, but I do think he earned it. And I do think that the way that the organization went about it and treated him and the way that the decisions that they have made were just ridiculous and just unnecessary. So to me, I have to side with Fleury because I can't side with the Golden Knights for how they handled it.
Oh, I mean, like I said, I've never been like I always say, Golden Knights absolutely handle it the worst way you could do it. Like, it should have been simple. It should have been easy. If that's what you had to do, and they didn't have to. I mean, they made the other moves made them force them to do it. But looking ahead in the past, they didn't have to. They did it. It is what it is. They've probably the worst any team has ever handled the trade in history. That, and then you had the whole Dadonov shit too with with Anaheim. It's like that was a shit show too. It's been a mistake after mistake. But like I said, for me, I guess I'm just a type that like, okay, it happened. It was fucking annoying. Now I'm over it. Like let's move on.
I don't think you're over it. I don't think you're over it at all.
I'm not the best at that either. I don't just move on.
Miguel, towards the end of the year, there was a rant that I did on this show. Was basically it's the whole communication with Leonard towards the end with DeBoer saying he's fine, he's clearly not fine, whatever. Communication. Because it frustrated me. I'm not even a fan of the Golden Knights. It just frustrated me to the nth degree that no one seemed to be on the same page. Armin Leonard goes out against his game against New Jersey. For some reason, he doesn't come back. No one says anything. Everyone just says he's fine. Lack of communication with Marc-Andre Fleury. Gets traded away and like whatever. Trading away Dadonov to a team he clearly has a no trade clause with, and you try it anyway. Ken, like what is the communication style of the front office, and is it just lacking, or is it part of the strategy to just be as undercover as possible, I guess? Never let them know your next move, you know?
Yeah, I think they do want to be like close to the vest, I guess is the simplest way I'll put it. Like they would like none of the information to get out. They would like to handle everything in-house, but we live it's 2022. Like all these dudes have social media. People talk to people. If you tell somebody at the grocery store that your left ankle is hurt, I'm probably going to hear about it because that guy's going to tell somebody else who's going to like whatever. That's just the way it happens now. I think that the challenge for the Golden Knights front office is that they are under so much pressure to win that they do view these situations of saying, well, we can go from Marc-Andre Fleury to Robin Lehner, and I think we get a little better and we definitely get younger and we definitely extend this window, that they feel like that's a move that they have to make. But then as it happens, they kind of undersell how important the human element is going to be to all of this. What, like trading Erick Haula on his wedding day, like, yes, I get it. It's a business. That's going to happen. It is going to happen. And the way that they handle Erick Haula, I've spoken to Erick Haula, actually was pretty darn good. But if you take the human element just a little bit further, and I feel like teams like Colorado, Tampa, some of these other teams, LA actually seems to have figured it out since the whole John Stevens debacle season that was, or what I
don't want to talk about that year.
Right? Like, since then, they actually seem to be doing it the right way with things like taking the captaincy off of Dustin Brown. Like that wasn't the end of the world. They actually handled it in a way that was proper. The Golden Knights seem to just struggle a little bit completely understanding the human element because I think they're under so much pressure that they absolutely have to get better every single step of the way. And to do that, you're going to have to make incredibly difficult decisions. They just don't seem to be able to handle it very well. I don't think they're like the worst communicators in the world. I just think that they're not the best at it. And therefore, because they're in this position they're in, trying to make all these moves, they look really bad.
Yeah, like for a question for both of you then. Where's your confidence level with the front office? Because outside looking in, I think the board deserved to get fired. Like it's probably an unpopular opinion about that. It's just the way the communication was handled. And I feel the same way about basically the GM and the president. Like I don't know how you get that bad in terms of miscommunication for an entire month and a half as you chase a playoff spot.
I mean, personally, I thought McCrimmon should have been let go after last season. And it's not even not making the playoffs. It's like the combination of everything, how everything was handled. It was just like, it felt like it was mistake after mistake. I'm like, yes, the team was severely injured, but despite the not making the playoffs, it's just the way you guys handled the front office handled everything was from a fan's perspective, it felt like horrible. So I'm like, how is McCrimmon not losing his job, but DeBoer is? And like, for me, I was a DeBoer fan personally. Like, I like DeBoer. I'm like, okay, I like this guy. I like his style. And I told Erick multiple times, like, I don't think they should have fired DeBoer. I think they should give him 1 more year at least, but fire McCrimmon. And I mean, that's what we got though. So
yeah, I don't have a ton of confidence in the front office to win the cup. I do have pretty good confidence in them staying relevant. For me, that's not good enough. Like, if I own the team, it wouldn't be good enough to have a situation where we're constantly pushing for the playoffs. We might be able to get through a round or two. And if we hit the right matchups, maybe we make it to the cup final and get blown out by whoever the best team in the league is that year. Like, for me, that's not good enough. I don't know how the owner feels about that. He came into the league all gung-ho, playoffs in 3, cup in 6. I'm going to do everything in my power to win the cup, and that's all we want to do. But over the course of the past, really maybe I would say like 6 to 8 months here, it has been setting up, and they have been making moves that really scream mediocrity. Like, we're good with mediocrity. They don't seem to want to start over. They don't seem to want to set themselves up for the position that they probably should be looking at, which is 3 years down the road when the cap's going to open back up. That's the moment where you can potentially strike again. And it just seems like they aren't interested in that. When you sign Phil Kessel, when you go out and trade for Aiden Hill, like, these are moves to make sure that you don't fall too far out of the playoffs. For me, that's not what I'm looking for. So my confidence in the front office to win the Stanley Cup is very, very, very low, like ridiculously low, to the point where if I'm in charge, that's all I care about. We probably would have had to have made a move. But I don't know what the owner actually wants. And because of that, if you're just looking for extra playoff revenue, which isn't crazy in the NHL, it makes a massive difference for a lot of these owners. These guys can get you to the playoffs constantly. These guys can keep you with a roster that is, at least at the worst part, what we're looking at this year, which is like, well, if they stay healthy, they're 2nd or 3rd in the Pacific, like maybe even 1st. They don't, things can fall apart. But like, this is the worst roster they've had in 6 years. That's pretty impressive when you really consider where they started from. But they're not heading towards the path of winning the cup. Like, I don't know when they're supposed to win the cup. I would love for somebody to answer that question. When's the best chance you have to win the cup? Because I don't see it.
Man, it's a transparency thing. Like, you look at, like, if you want to use like previous winners as like your measuring tape. Tampa, you knew they were going to win. Colorado, you knew they were going to win. But the teams in the finals are always the ones you're like, I have no idea how they got here. Your Dallases, your Vegas Golden Knight year 1. Your Montreal.
Yeah.
Like, you can get to the final. Can you win a championship is another question, I think. I think that's, for some reason, the final is a time.
But then St. Louis did it. So it's like St. Louis was that team.
When they weren't supposed to.
In the mix, and then they did it. And so now you're sitting here saying, well, somebody did it. So maybe it is possible. Yeah,
that's like one time out of how many?
I'm with you. I'm completely with you. Like, you look at the history of the NHL for the past 20 years, it's been dominant teams. Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh, Colorado, Chicago, LA, Colorado, Tampa. Like, it's been the dominant teams. And the Golden Knights were in that mix until they opted to go 3 superstars too far.
Yeah, I mean, those first 2 years, 3 years really, but the 2 specifically, really felt like, oh, Vegas is going to get a cup. One of these, it's going to happen. And it felt good. It definitely does not feel that way now. Now it's like, you're right. For me, my hopes are, okay, they just need to get in, and hopefully they can pull a St. Louis when they
You're me.
In. You know what I mean?
You've become me for the past 2 years or 3 years.
You don't want to be Erick.
No, you don't want to be me. It was terrible. Don't. Like, Ken, I'm currently doing this thing where I go to all 30 arenas, or 32 now.
Nice.
Follow the Kings, go do it. For the past 3 years, it's basically like, I hope this team shows up. I see them like lap a couple of times, and we call it a day.
No, they're good now. They're good.
Yeah.
Fiala's legit.
Oh, that was a great move. God.
Yeah.
I hate preseason games because I get excited, and like I even told Miguel, like, don't get it, like, we're not gonna do this bickering that we normally do. We're gonna save it for the regular season. But I
haven't even watched a single Vegas preseason game. I'm like, I just don't care about.
Jack Eichel scored, and I got mad. I was like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, nothing really happens. They've played 2 games, and there's been nothing going on. It's just a slog in the neutral zone for the entire game. It's been pretty brutal.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Preseason's fun. Like, I went to the rookie face-off also, where got to see your boys.
Those.
Those are fun. It was a great time. Got to check out a lot of your prospects. You're Fleming, very tall. That's what I learned.
Fleming's fun. Fleming's a
very punchy. Also,
yeah, he'll hit you.
We had I watched two Vegas games that were both in like not the AHL arena, so they were in this very tiny practice rink, and the amount of fighting I saw in that practice rink for both days, Jesus Christ! It's almost like
mess around.
No, no, it was great. And
I always say this about the rookie face-off games. They're always a dick measuring contest of toughness.
Oh,
yes.
100%.
Where it's like you have to show how tough you are, no matter who you are. And there's like dudes who will never get a hit in the NHL that are fighting people in these. It's so stupid, but that's what it does make it enjoyable. Those games are fun to watch.
Yeah, because I remember the first year they did it in Vegas. And I just remember like the one thing that sticks out is fucking Kolasar dropping a dude on the ice.
Yeah.
Like
Nick Hague had 3 fights in that.
He
three
did
games,
have
3 fights.
Yeah.
Brent Clark almost died, got murdered after the third period whistle.
It was brutal. And then he scores the goal and leaves out the door.
Oh, that was
beautiful.
Great. Oh, great moment.
Beautiful.
And
he blew it last night. He had a chance to do the same thing last night and he blew it.
Man, it was great. Also, fun fact: I haven't told this, Miguel, because we haven't talked since rookie tournament. I had to kick out Rob Blake out of my chair. He was in my section seat that I booked a ticket for. By the way, appreciate the job you're doing, Rob, but I kind of have to sit here.
Yeah, get out of
here. Let's jump in. Let's transition to a more happy time, hopeful time. Start of the year. A time everyone's 0-0. Hey, you got hope in the air. Even Arizona isn't completely terrible so far. What are any prospects making this Vegas team outside of Brendan Brisson, or is he even going to be on it?
No, he's not making it either, unless there's injuries.
I don't think anybody's making it. I mean, if you want to call Paul Cotter a prospect, he's potentially got an outside shot. I could see him pushing a Matteo out of the lineup, maybe Howden if he plays really well. Manninen's got a shot. He's not a prospect. He's 30, but no, none of the. Korzak's the one that's the closest, but they have 7 defensemen once Hague gets back under contract, whenever the hell that is. But no prospects are coming up.
Speaking of Hague Watch 2022. Yeah. What's the current situation with him? Is it coming soon, or is it who the hell knows?
Back home practicing with her team.
Yeah, he went back up to the OHL rink. It seems to me like it's just a hard line from the Golden Knights saying sign the shitty deal. That's where we're at. We have to have you sign this, and eventually he's probably going to have to do that. It's how far he holds out. I think the tricky part of all of it is he's represented by an agent that Nick Hague is the guy's biggest client. So he's not in a situation where they can kind of just get walked over. He kind of needs to prove his worth in these negotiations, and I think that's stalling the thing a little bit further. My guess is still it gets done in the next 3 to 4 days. I think he's not going to skip the Montana trip.
Yeah.
I think my guess was from last week I said 2 weeks. So I'd say by Monday.
That's what I would think. But I'm guessing
I just can't see it going into, not for Nick Hague. I just don't see it going into the season him not playing.
It shouldn't, but it might. I'm telling you, the agent matters here because he needs to get paid. Nick wants to get paid. He's got to prove his worth to other clients in the future. It does matter, and I think he's going to try and find a deal here that actually doesn't look bad, because if Nick signs a 2-year at 1.2 a piece, it's going to look really bad on the age.
That's horrible.
So you got to be careful.
Yeah, you can't make less than Sean Dursey.
I think he should be in the 2 to 3, in between that area.
Yeah, the Golden Knights won't do it.
I know they won't.
I say give him 5. He tries hard.
I'll take 5 while you're at it.
You guys, the cap space, right?
Yeah, well,
you guys kind of figure it out every year.
Got LTIR space.
I'm about to say, what do you guys got? 7 from Shea, 5 from Leonard. Anything else?
Yeah, Brossois got 2.25 if they decide to put him on there. Patrick's got 1.2. There'll be more.
Oh, Nolan Patrick. You guys have a lot of interest. It feels like a carryover in terms of the themes, at least for this year.
Nolan is. Everyone knows it's unfortunate. That's derailed his career pretty much. It's gonna be something he's gonna have to deal with. It's horrible. But that is Shea Weber. I was just
I mean,
Cap thump, I guess.
please tell me you're still planning on getting a jersey, Miguel. I got to get you a Shea Weber jersey.
No, absolutely not.
Come on. He's under contract for like 5 years and probably isn't going anywhere.
I have no player jerseys, and every time I think about getting one, they get traded. I'm gonna get a Fleury one. God, Alex Tuck's my favorite. God, like Pacioretty. God, like every player I wanted a jersey. Like, so I mean, whoever I get, watch out. They're going.
All right, hear me out. This is a mutual benefit here, Miguel. I get you a jersey, Sinbin. We free advertising for you on Miguel's back.
There you go.
What do you say?
Man.
If you pay for it, I'll wear it.
I'll absolutely pay for it. I've gone way further for a joke purchase.
I'm in favor.
See,
just give me that nice gold jersey. I don't have that one yet.
All right, let's talk jerseys.
The arena, but
let's talk jerseys.
You're not gonna win this argument, Eric. I'll just say right now.
Is your guys' jerseys gold or yellow? Because I'm straight on yellow camp.
They're gold.
They're gold.
They're ugly. They're yellow. I'm sorry.
He doesn't know.
In person?
Eric doesn't know.
I have. I've been to Vegas many times.
No, like, have you touched one?
Yes.
When? And you still think they're yellow?
At the Armory? Is that right? At your team store?
Yeah. So
multiple hotels?
So then when's the last time you've been to an eye doctor?
You know,
Eric is the only person that I know. Who
I'm not the only person.
In person. I'm saying in person.
All right, fair.
And didn't like it. Everyone else
they're the same color as the sleeve.
At the sleeve,
it's the exact same color.
The logo's a different shade of gold. Also, the helmets don't match. It is. I swear to God.
The logo is a slightly different color, but it's still gold nonetheless.
It's a little different. That's why that's my biggest gripe is that you have 3 different shades of gold, especially when you have the gold helmets that don't match. You guys need to go like matte, like 49ers gold.
Did they ever say why they never went gold on gold and they still won?
Gold helmets are terrible. That's why.
I love them. I know you hate them. I know you hate them. I love them though.
They're so bad. I mean, like they're so bad. I guess it's funny as like a joke. Gold on gold would have been that would have been bad because that's a completely different color.
I wish they would have gone gold on gold just for the joke.
Gold pants? When are gold pants happening?
Ooh, I would be in favor of gold pants. I don't think
the Sharks did all teal and they kind of look sick. I know a lot of people hate it because it's too much teal.
I don't like it, but I don't like the Sharks though.
But I just like a commitment to a full like NFL color rush style jersey where you just commit to a kit. Like you should. I don't know. Like when I play like Madden or like NHL, like Madden at least lets you switch pants, so you can do whatever you want with them. Like eventually, like you do with the helmets, just put on a different pair of pants.
Yeah. No.
When do you think we're gonna get official the alternative jersey reveal?
Also, have you seen the leaks?
I know he's.
Yeah, I've seen him. It's a black jersey with Vegas diagonally across the middle. It's the same font as in the middle center circle now. There is a sword on the pants. I don't know if that's going to stay. I hope they take it out because like there was a sword in a player's back one time. So maybe don't put one on the pants. Like, I don't know how good of an idea that is, but like, yeah, they look nice. Like I like these ones. I would guess a couple days, probably in the week before the season, they're going to utilize it to kind of pump up the season starting.
So is the gray officially retired? It's done?
No, they're still going to wear it here and there, but probably with gold helmets. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, look, I understand. Look, I'm a big fan of the chrome for the LA Kings. I just think it matches. It goes with everything, though. It matches.
The chromes are so bad too.
So good. I saw them in Seattle in person for the first time. Oh, it was so good.
Oh, and you see it against those jerseys, which are like the best in the league. Seattle's jerseys are incredible.
I do like Seattle's. Yeah, dude, I love their whole presentation. I know they took your guys' your guys' game day ops guy like went to Seattle, right?
Yeah, both of them. The guy and the gal that ran it both went up there. Yeah, and now we're still running the same thing that they did before, and
it's really good. I don't like when you guys fight a king on the ice. I got to be honest. Not a fan of it.
I love it. Like the more ridiculous, the better.
Oh, the
like,
jet.
There's a shark
the conference final.
In the heart. Like there's a king decapitate that motherfucker. Yeah. Like whatever is happening. I don't care. I was actually kind of pissed off when they played the Capitals that like we didn't ransack
Eagle,
the White House or something. Like, no, I wanted to like burn the White House to the ground.
Storm the Capitol if you may.
That was actually before that. Maybe you don't get away with that anymore. Like that's a felony now. But
he cut a fucking jet in half. You know what I mean?
Let's go.
My only issue is that when the knight pulls the sword out of the rock. That's the story of King Arthur. He becomes a king. A king. We're.
Well,
I mean, come on.
semantics.
That's my only issue with it. You can murder the monarchy as much as you want. You know what I mean? But like, it just doesn't make sense because he becomes a king when he.
I mean, let's be honest. He's skating in the middle of a hockey rink. How much of this actually makes sense? Like, let's not get too literal here.
Fine. Fair enough. Ken, what is your hopes for the 2022-23 Vegas Golden Knights with the addition of Phil Kessel now?
You would think that would be a pretty straightforward question, but in my mind, it's really not, because there's a part of me that actually doesn't want it to go that well. So they actually start getting back on the path to doing what they need to do and find a way to get headed in the right direction to win. I don't know what that looks like or how they go about doing that or how long it's going to take. So I guess my straight out of the gate, my hope would be that they don't suck. Like, if they can be good enough that we can start to see some of the things that a lot of these players we know can bring, and that they can actually challenge. Maybe there's ways to work around the edges and get them back to something closer to competitive, and then you hit the right setup and you can find a way. But if they're mediocre, which is kind of where I expect them to fall, somewhere in the ballpark of 85 to 95 points and like barely in or barely out of the playoffs, like, I don't want that. I don't want mediocre. I want them to go one way or the other. So I guess I would say stay healthy and see what happens. And I really don't want to see unhealthy and mediocre. That's the worst, because I cannot deal with another year of, but when we get this guy back, and I'm well aware I'm wearing this jersey like I've been doing it for 3 years, like, oh, wait until Tim Weah comes back. We're gonna like calm the fuck down. But you know, I don't want to hear the word man games lost ever again in my life. Like, the guys who are here need to be better than the guys on the other side more often than not. And unless they're doing that, we got to find a way to start over. So I just want some sort of certainty in what we are. I don't like this middle ground question mark season that I feel like we're headed for.
Now, Miguel, same question for you, but I want you to break out a kayfabe where you keep telling me the Knights are going to win the cup every year.
So they are going to win, but no, realistically, I'm with Ken. Like, you're 100%. Like, I don't want a middling season ever again. They're worse than a tanking season. You know what I mean? At least I want to be excited for the draft. You know what I mean? Like, because when you get in the middle, you're drafting 15, 16, 17, 18. Doesn't matter. That's me. At least. But you're right. I don't want another season of purely injuries. Either they're going to get in, they're good. Eichel has this career year. Logan Thompson comes out as the new number one goalie. Like, Carlson can score again. All the good stuff goes the good way. Or this team just fucking sucks. I hate it. I'm miserable. But at least we're looking forward to the draft. We're in the lottery. But like I said, the middling, you're right. It's just the absolute worst. Yeah. You get nothing, you gain nothing, and you have nothing to look forward to once it's over.
Yep.
Bruce Cassidy, where's our confidence level with him now? Year one for him.
He's good. Yeah. It's going to take a minute. I don't think it's going to be immediate. I don't think the power play is going to turn around right away. I think they're going to struggle with some of the systems in their own end, and some of the things that have actually looked okay through 2 preseason games. I don't think will look okay when they start playing these high-end offensive teams. I'm interested to see what it looks like against the Kings on that opening night, but he's good. I think long-term, that's a good hire. And I think John Stevens is a great hire. I'm interested to see how long he sticks around, because
he's dope
if he gets a job. He
does one good thing well, and that's defense.
Yeah, but he's not actually running the defense. But not. I mean,
then never mind.
But like, it's Cassidy's system. It's like, you do.
No, it's
that.
fair. Yeah,
he's running the penalty kill. I do think he's a smart enough guy that he'll figure out what Cassidy wants.
RPK was easily top 5. Like, when the entire time he was with us. Yeah, so RPK was god awful last year. So he's really good at that.
The one thing I'll say about this season, and Ken, you guys actually talked about it on your recent podcast a bit about, I think it was a recent one, where maybe I'm just too optimistic, but like the year one, they play with a chip on their shoulder, and that made them good. And you guys kind of touched on it, and I agree. I think this year, similar. I do think they have a bit of a chip on their shoulder. Everyone
they're angry.
I'm sure they're angry too. So I'm like, I just hope they're able to manifest that like they did in year one into being on a roll, winning, dominating.
I'm
like
just concerned they're more angry at like me and the rest of the hockey media for thinking they aren't that good than they are angry at like the other teams, which is what it was the first year. That was like everyone banded together because it was like, fuck the Sabres. They didn't want Will Carrier. And like that doesn't exist anymore. No. When they go to LA, I don't think that's what it's going to be. It's just that we need to prove ourselves to the world. That can work. I think that can be pretty powerful. It's just how long does it last? And
for sure,
you have good enough goaltending.
And I just hope they're able to maintain that again this year and use it for the right, because like for year one, like people are always like, after year one, people are like, oh, what's going on with the Golden Misfits? I'm like, they haven't been the Golden Misfits since they made the Cup Finals, in my opinion. Like once they overachieve, like you're no longer the Misfits. You're the best team on the West. Like, you know what I mean? Or you were, not anymore. But so that's my thing. I don't know. We'll see.
No, it's I personally, outside looking in, I don't know what expectations I have for Vegas. Like you could tell me, I don't know, second in the division, I believe you. I can tell you they finished under Vancouver and like sixth. They're not being worse than probably the other two California teams or like Seattle. Like, I don't know. Seattle's weird. You can tell me anything about Seattle either.
It's weird too.
I hate to say it because like our friends always talk about it, but the Pacific Division is terrible. Like,
whoa.
In a lot of ways, like there's too much
better.
They're very flawed. Better. There's too much inconsistency, I think, amongst almost everything. Like Vancouver will go on this crazy run last year, then absolutely just fumble it at the end. Vegas, they were good, then they were bad, and then they had a chance at the very end. They had the fate in their hands, and they threw it away in overtime, penalty shots, night after night after night, which was absolute brutal to watch. Like one day I wake up, no hope. The next day, oh, there's hope. Then there's no hope. And I don't feel like any team in the Pacific is overly consistent. Other than I guess Edmonton. Like I mean,
no, even Edmonton has their own flaws. We can go through every team in the Pacific, and we probably will at some point, Miguel. But every team has its big major flaw. Like I genuinely believe I've had Jack Campbell as my backup goalie. He was great. He was a reclamation project. Billy Ranford, who's our goalie coach, did a great job, like rebuilding his career, as well as Darcy Kemper. Like confidence is a huge thing for him. I saw him lose his confidence in Toronto. Like, what's it going to happen if he has a bad game in Edmonton? Calgary has a bunch of new pieces. Like,
I feel like every division has a standout best team, and the Pacific no longer has that. I don't think. Where Vegas was that for the longest.
Yep.
I don't think Pacific has that. I don't even think Edmonton is that. While I do think they're the best right now, I don't think they have that just because their goaltending is always going to be like Campbell. Is he going to be good? Is he not? Well, we'll see. And
it's just a lot of stuff left up in the air, and then specifically with Vegas, as long as we stay on here, like I think there's stuff you can't count on with you guys. Like your defense should be good. Like you guys have a pretty great top six. If Nicholas Hague comes back, I don't think it's that like do or die. Like this isn't a top pairing guy for you guys to worry about. So like it's weird. Like I was looking at projections, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but like I think the projected lineup from The Athletic today had Michael Amadio on third right wing. Like is that correct? And is that that just temporary until someone steps up and takes a spot for him, or
who's gonna take it?
Anybody. I've had Michael Amadio. Like you,
maybe Paul Cotter. Like I mean,
Amadio wasn't bad for us. I mean, obviously you'd want someone better.
Yeah, he's the most okay player of all time, in my opinion.
Very replaceable. There you go.
He's a guy. Like, and that's nothing against him. He's a good dude, but like he's a guy. He could go to any team and he'll score from time to time. And for the most part, he's invincible. But like, yeah, I mean, the question becomes kind of where does Kessel land? So right now they have Kessel on the first line, which I don't think that's going to stick.
No.
Cassidy was kind of talking about it a couple of days ago where he's saying that he really likes Smith and the idea of having Smith with Eichel, and that can potentially offset some of what Eichel's, the things Eichel doesn't do great, Smith is really good at. I feel like Kessel's kind of a placeholder on that line at the moment. He really likes Stone and Stevenson, so I think Marchessault might be a placeholder in that situation at the moment. Eventually they're going to have to try one of Stevenson or Karlsson on the wing. Like you're going to have to push one of these guys up the lineup because I just can't imagine that you're going to play Kessel 18 minutes a night. I just don't see that being the case. But they don't really have, like, there's a clear hole. There's clearly one missing forward because of the fact that the three of the top 6 are centers, and you kind of need them all as a center. So yeah, at the moment, I do think Amadio is in the top 9. Like, I don't know how you even get around that, because Carrier and Kolazar are never going to be in the top 9. And then Howden, like, which one of those is pushing Amadio? Like, there's really not a good option. So, and then the problem is the depth behind all of those guys is it drops off in a hurry. Like Jake Lecision, Jonas Roenbier, Paul Cotter, Zachary Mannanen, like, there's not a lot there.
Yeah.
Let's transition, because I kind of have a listener question in that vein. Who will have a breakout year for Vegas? With the loss of so many key pieces, someone is going to need to step up. Who do you think it will be? And that's from Jeff. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff. I think your best bet would probably be Howden or Wah. I think Wah playing where he is in a 4th line role and the kind of this new offensive system that they're running, I don't think is going to generate much in transition. I don't think they're going to score all that much. So I would bet against Wah, at least where he is now. I think Howden's probably going to end up finding his way up the lineup as time goes on. And that's not necessarily because of anything he's doing right or wrong. I just think they're going to have to try some different options. And he does have enough scoring touch that I think if he gets put in the right situation, things go his way, he could potentially be that guy. And like standout year, it's hard to say, because last year he played 40 games and he had somewhere in the ballpark of 20, 30 points, something like that. Like, you double that, all of a sudden you're looking at, like, that's what his floor should be. It's not. Like, if this dude puts up 40 points, that's a pretty good year for him. And what he's in, $1.5 million, like, that's kind of where I would lean. I just, like, it's hard to pick one, because most of the goals are going to have to come from their best players. Like, there's just no way around it. They're going to have to be good on the power play. Like, otherwise, they're not going to score. And so far, we've seen that. They're not scoring goals in 2 preseason games. They're not scoring a lot of goals even in practice. Like, we watch 2-on-1 drills. They don't score. Like, it's just the way that it looks like it's headed. Better be good defensively.
And to me, that's one of the biggest things, not scoring. Because, like, even like, I didn't watch the games, but again, 1 goal, both games, sounds terrible. Every time when I see your guys' Simbin, Jesse, everyone's different that covers Vegas. Like, Fleury, Leonard, now Logan look great in practice, stopped every shot.
Yeah.
Like, what does that say about the forwards? You know what I mean?
Yep. 100%.
I always look at it the other way. Like, I always look at it the other way. I'm like, what does that say about the forwards? We've struggled to score since pretty much after season 2. Like, that's always been the biggest issue with Vegas. Like, they get there, and they can't. No one can score, and so like, okay, you're not gonna win the 0-0s.
It's true. Next question: who's your favorite player currently to watch on this Vegas Golden Knights roster?
That's a good question. I always tend to lean towards guys that can hold the puck. Like, I like guys who get into the offensive zone, turn, find ways to hold the puck, and they don't really have one at the moment. Like, Nick Waugh might be the best at it. Chandler Stevenson's probably the answer to that question, just because of the way that he is able to do that. He is able to use his speed. I think he's good playing wing and center. He frustrates me a little bit back checking from time to time, and kind of how he every once in a while he kind of flips off in the defensive zone, but they don't really have that type of player to the degree of what they had. Perron was the one I liked the most. I like cerebral players. I like guys that play that way. So I guess I would say probably Stevenson. And there's really not one through the system either, to be completely honest. Like, I don't see another guy coming up like that. Dorofeev looked like he was potentially that, but so I'll go with Stevenson for right now.
Miguel, do you want to answer?
Shea Theodore. I love seeing Shea skate. Although, like, a lot of times last year he didn't look great. He looked a bit sluggish. But when he's on top, like, to me he's the most exciting. Watching
he looked real good last night. Like, real good.
Well, that's promising. That's good to know.
No, he's good. Petra, though, a mess on that Kevin Fiala goal.
He was bad last night. Like, granted, he's paired with a kid that probably doesn't belong out there, and he actually acquitted himself okay. Like, of the pair, I actually thought Daniil Chayka was better than Pietrangelo last night. But Petrangelo's been here. Like if he doesn't give a fuck about a preseason game, I'm with him. Like I'm not going to judge him on that.
Do you have more questions?
I have one more.
Okay.
Which we got a lot of hoopla. I got a lot of feedback that I didn't ask this one to Jesse, so I have to get it in, or else I'm gonna get written at and yelled at. Ken, what is your favorite pizza topping?
Well, I'm super boring. Like it would probably just be basil.
Okay.
Like I'm boring. I like roasted garlic. And that's probably the best option. But that you got to get good roasted garlic. I don't like the kid. It's got to melt. You know, I can't have this crunch on the roasted garlic. Get that shit out of here. But like, yeah, I'm not a meat guy. I'm not a sausage or pepperoni or any of the mushrooms or any of that good stuff. So I'm pretty boring. I tend to just order, margarita or just cheese.
I'm about to say margarita is my favorite. So
yeah, it's delicious.
That's so good.
The original pizza. Like can't mess around with it.
I'm a buffalo chicken pizza person myself.
Other than
that, it'd probably be just pepperoni. But so I got two quick questions. Do you have a favorite game for the Vegas Golden Knights? Or moment, maybe, I guess. Because in reality, it's more about the moments, really. Because there's games where they score 7 goals on the Sharks.
Can I share mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mine is a legit one. It's the one that got what's his face? Toronto Maple Leafs head coach fired. The flurry save where he dove back.
The
diving flurry save. Yeah,
that's my favorite Vegas Golden Knight.
That was
because we know a lot of
back save. That's right.
We know a lot of Leafs fans in that game.
Jumps out. The Tampa one from year one definitely.
And that's my favorite moment. Like that, as long as I live, that replays in my head. So that
was pretty wild. The Hall of overtime goal against the Kings was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The best game that's ever been played, and I don't think they'll ever get past it, is Game 7 with the Sharks. Like, I understand what happened in the game, but like they gave up 4 goals on a power play and then scored to tie it after that. Like,
which people forget that so much.
Yeah, like
because
that game, that series was just such a blast to cover. One that's like maybe a kind of a crazy one is the first preseason game in Vancouver. The one I was saying about Tyler Wong. Like, it was the first time I ever saw any of it on TV or any of it. So like that one was almost surreal. That one always sticks out in my mind.
Because for me, like the Tampa one felt like that legitimized Vegas. Like they're for real. They can win the cup. Absolutely. And the electric when that goal went in that arena was nuts. Like luckily I went to like all but like 4 games year one, so it was just amazing.
Nice.
And last question. This is random, but who do you think is going to be the first jersey retired? Because clearly it's not going to be Fleury anymore. For a while, I thought Tuck had a chance because he was a young guy. He looked like promising. So who do you think, if you had to guess? Are they even on the roster yet? No, right?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Like, I think if Stone finishes out the career, but I have a hard time believing that Stone's going to be much more than a couple more years left at really full strength, and then he's going to kind of go downhill. I thought that anyway before the back injury. I don't see it being Pietrangelo. I don't see it any of Marchessault, Carlson, or Smith. Theodore maybe, but like he's going to have to play his entire year here, and then you're going to have to do something like you shouldn't be retiring jerseys of guys that never won. Like that's a good sign of what your franchise is. And
I agree.
I would guess no. Like maybe hopefully it's Connor Bedard.
Hopefully not. Hopefully they win the cup this year, and we don't even have to worry about Bedard.
Miguel, would you rather barely miss the playoffs or get Connor Bedard? I mean,
Bedard.
Exactly.
Bedard for sure. I'd rather have Bedard than two playoff wins, like series wins.
Oh, I mean, yeah, of course. Cup though, but I agree.
Yeah, well,
anything less than the cup, then give me Bedard, please.
You give me a cup final, okay.
I don't want to go and lose in the Western Conference Finals again for a third time. Like,
you don't want to get swept by Colorado, is what you're saying.
I still think they beat Colorado. I don't care. I think they have Colorado figured out. I think it's one of those
weapons gone. The secret weapon got fired.
Matchups. I mean, that's true.
The secret weapon was DeBoer. He beat him 3 years in a row in the second round. Same dude, 3 years in a row, and then he goes and they win the cup. Like, I don't think they could. I don't know. I don't like it anymore. I don't want to play Colorado at all.
I think that's it for me, Eric.
No, we're good. Ken, where can people find you?
Sinbin.vegas.com is not for us. We like .vegas. It's so much cooler. What other city has that? And then Sinbin Vegas on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and sign up for our text service. It's pretty cool. We text breaking news, and then you can text back and interact with us all season long. It's pretty cool. It's only
I can agree. I'm a subscriber, so
attaboy, my man.
I am not, but I'll consider it. I'll think about it. I will say,
$3, Eric. It's only $3.
Ken, I will suck up to you. You are one of my favorite people to follow, even not as a Knights fan.
Thank
you guys,
you.
For us who found the game later in life and trying to get more people into it and stuff like that, the stuff you do makes it a lot easier to get into it. Because it's a difficult sport to get into when you've never played or experienced or grew up with it. So the more people that make it easy for us, we 100% appreciative, and we can't thank you enough for
awesome.
You could cover a better team, but like you do a great job with Vegas.
We'll see how they look this year. This is a crazy year. I could see them being bad. I could see them being good. I could see them being somewhere in between. I have no idea this year, which is kind of fun because first time we've had that in a while.
Absolutely.
I agree. It's fun until they suck, though. But
well, then yeah.
Optimism right now. Optimism.
Don't worry, I got ideas. I came up with all sorts of ideas of what we're gonna do when they suck, and I haven't been able to unleash any of them yet. So we got ideas. Don't worry.
Look, as someone who recently had a sucky team, you have a lot of time to think when they're terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we'll be good. I'm ready. Let's go.
Miguel, why don't you do us the honor? It's been a while. Send us home.
Well, for those listening, thank you so much. You can find me at Miguel Kicks all over the internet. You can find me at youtube.com, Collectors Lobby. Eric, where can the people find you?
That doesn't matter. At _Erick Oriana. More importantly, you know what? Since we haven't done that, we haven't plugged our merch in a while. Go buy a Robin Leonard shirt. That's a Loteria card.
I know you love Robin Leonard. You should get one of those shirts.
Ken Loteria is basically Mexican bingo. It's great. It all goes to charity. If you buy one, I'll let you choose the charity it goes to.
So for those listening, thank you so much. Go follow Sinbin Vegas. I hope you have a wonderful day, and peace.